सदाशिवसमारम्भाम् शङ्कराचार्यमध्यमाम् अस्मदाचार्यपर्यन्ताम् वन्दे परम्पराम्. Since this is an important portion, Jnana Sadhana Phalam 35, 36 and 37 is talking about it. Now, what was the first thing he said? What is the phalam of the pursuit of Atma Jnanam? First point he said was, all confusions, conflicts, delusions are gone. What as a student we take attention in is, what are conflicts and confusions and delusions? Where do they exist? In mind. Confused is called a confused mind. So when our thinking itself is confused, is in conflicts, or is deluded, and what we mean by deluded, I will come further. But what we notice here is that it is to do with our thinking. Now, what does Atma Vidya do? It says, he had said, Yat Kyatva na punar moham evam yasyasi Pandava. In this manner, O Pandav, you will never come back to the state of delusion that you now experience yourself with. So all confusions, na punar moham, punaha na, never again, moham. This confusion, conflict, delusions, they are gone for good, which means it is the mind which gets confused. Therefore, it is the mind, means in thinking itself, all confusions, conflicts, and delusions are gone. So our thinking gets muddled. Our thinking gets confused. When we say our thinking, what do we mean actually? When we are confused means when I do not know few things, or right or wrong, good or bad, what should I do, what should I not do, etc. When my mind is not able to resolve itself at some point, decision making, buddhi is not firm. Mind goes on wavering between the choices that it holds in itself. This confusion, conflict, delusion is a reflection of one's thinking. When my thinking is mixed up, muddled, I say I'm confused. So what does Atma Gyan do? All confusions, conflicts, delusions are gone in thinking. Means the mind is not muddled. The mind doesn't have conflicts. That is gone for good. And if you take this further and try and understand and analyze what causes confusions, what is called delusion, they only come in a person's mind when there are misplaced values. In our state of ignorance, we live with misplaced values because lack of knowledge. Lack of knowledge makes us value certain things that don't really essentially hold a value. We give them extra value. We give them high value. Like, for example, earning money over health. While money may be essential, but between the two, which is the correct value? So what is a misplaced value? A misplaced value is where you mix up what is more essential than the other. What is truly essential to life? The more we take our life for granted, the more we fall out of rhythm with nature and with knowledge. When any person has a misplaced value, you will find there will be confusion and conflicts. That misplaced value is called delusion. And delusions will always cause confusions and conflicts. So, misplaced value, I was giving an example, just as between health and money. If there is a conflict, what should I pursue in this time? And very many of us have chosen money over the health, thinking life is there. We don't suspect that this health is vulnerable. We don't suspect that health is conditional. We don't suspect that there is also as much a responsibility to retain it and maintain it. But somehow the necessity of something else is so predominant at that stage that, yes, for many people, it's not even a choice. We are not talking about them. They have to sacrifice their health, sometimes even to feed themselves. And we see a whole lot of people living in that category of life where health they cannot keep as a priority. But we are addressing here between people whose values have got misplaced, which means I have wealth enough to sustain me, and yet I will give importance to wealth over health. That is called misplaced value. So in a person in avidya, we will find that all values are mixed up in our mind. We are muddled. We will not know what to give priority. We'll get confused. Even if we know, we will get confused just as Arjuna had got confused in the first chapter. The second place where we really see confusions and conflicts arising is when Shastra says they are gone in thinking, it means that all misplaced values are corrected in life situations. So this is put in a positive way. That when all confusions are gone because of Atma Vidya, delusions are gone, conflicts are gone, what does it imply? It implies that all my misplaced values have got corrected in life situations. Now, can you imagine if my misplaced values have got placed? What amount of mental relief is there? The same point gets further strengthened when we say we choose the real over the apparent. This misplaced value is in a subjective, relative world. But when this Atma Vidya gets strengthened in life, in thinking, the tendency to choose the real over the apparent things means I choose what is real over what is apparently real. Means I can discern well enough what is called real, and I can discern what is temporarily looking like real. Means I have removed from my mind the overvaluing, the misplaced valuing of things that are temporary. That I am able to choose the real over the apparent would also mean I am able to choose the permanent over the impermanent. Means the person whose vidya has got established in our sadhanas, jnana sadhana, the portion gone before, in our jnana sadhanas, we are practicing the steadiness of perception internally. What Vedantic Shravanam Mananam systematically done over a period of time has built in us another thought process. This thought process is what is the topic of these final verses. This thought process is a phal. It has come because of your pursuit of jnana, knowledge, self-knowledge. This pursuit of self-knowledge has become so firm with practice. Practicing it is called sadhana. With practice, what is the benefit of it? The biggest benefit, and if you can perceive it in your mind, when misplaced values get corrected in life situations don't get corrected. The value we place to those situations gets corrected. That's a huge, huge, huge relief in the relative world. What sustains this is when we start choosing what is real over what is apparent. Means I'm able to choose what is essential over what is non-essential. I'm able to recognize the real versus the apparent. What is apparent? When you wake up in the morning, supposing you had a very deep sleep, and then there was a short dream just before you woke up. And that short dream, when you woke up, suddenly you're disoriented for a few seconds or a few minutes. In that disorientation for a short time, suddenly you find yourself finding mental state of reality. You're affirming to yourself a mental state of reality, which is your waking world. Which means over the apparent, though while you were in dream, it looked real, but when you woke up, you instantly could discern what was apparent and what is real. जो दिख रहा है वो है नहीं, और जो है वो जरूरी नहीं है कि वो दिखे. So this state where you are able to see the reduction, the resolution of conflicts based on what is permanent and impermanent in life, and based on choosing the real over the apparent. A big, big, big benefit, phal of Jnana Sadhana. Second thing he said in the 35th verse itself is, all division-based thinking gets corrected. Which means, yena bhutani asheshena drakshasi atmani atho mai. He says, you will see, I'm just translating it out of the the usage of Sanskrit word, and then I'll bring it back to Sanskrit, because nothing conveys better than understanding it in its original language. But for the sake of just expanding it, all division-based thinking gets corrected on Atmagyanam. All division-based thinking means at this point we have, as I'd explained in those classes, I will not elaborate that now. Division-based is Jiva, Jagat, Ishvara, three compartments. Today I see people as you and me, Aham and Mama. Idam, Aham, this and me. This breakup in our understanding, I will call it the disintegrated mind. This disintegrated Antakarna. This disintegrated means it is divided. It is divided into me, my wants, my desires, ek taraf main and my mind and my ichha and my family and all these things about me. Ek taraf everything, all thought processes about the world, they are disconnected to me, as if the world is this, the world is that, the world should be this, the world should be that, the world wish it was this, the world is very nice. So many thoughts about the world. Those thoughts don't have any integration with me as a person. I see myself as so separate and distinct, and the world is so separate and distinct. And the third category is Bhagwan, whatever, hai, nahi hai, it's a matter of our own faith and belief. There is a division, breakup in our mind. There is a breakup is the right word. There is a disintegration between these thought processes. That in Atma Vidya, what is the biggest gain? The biggest gain is the buddhi gets integrated. This division has got corrected means your buddhi has got integrated. If you can get the meaning of the words, wonderful. Means ये जो आज मेरे divided है ना, अलग अलग चीजों में, ये अब एकत्रित हो गई है, एक में आ गई है. When buddhi has got integrated, that means there is maximum harmony. There is maximum oneness. There is only oneness. There is only harmony. And harmony is not between two things, because our concept of harmony is two things, between two things. When we use the word harmony, it does integrated buddhi doesn't mean harmony between two things. Integrated buddhi means it doesn't see two things. It doesn't recognize the other. There is no other. Everyone is in me. And this Bhagwan itself, in whom this Jivatvam and Ishvara itself is there, that it's all three have got integrated. So the division felt between Jiva, Jagat and Ishvara in the initial stages of Jnana Sadhana, if done well, and fortunately for us, this chapter itself has given us the first disciplines of Jnana Sadhana. If a person has followed those disciplines, this is the benefit first. It will diminish. This division will get diminished. This disintegration will diminish first. It will not vanish away because Ajnanam is still there. But as the sadhanas get strengthened, as the Gyan holds the person stronger within, diminishing first, and finally the division is lost. There is only ekatvam. There is samatvam is not a mental value of a sthita prajna in the sense of a mental practice. Jab hai hi ek, so where is the disturbance? That is the phalam. We are at the final stage of the chapter and we have to see the whole chapter in oneness. Here he is talking about a person who from Arjuna's state of disturbed mind has heard Vedanta, having heard the Atmanatma Vidya in chapter 2 verse 16 onwards up to verse 26-28. There afterwards, knowing fully well that he is not prepared for knowledge, sadhanas, Gyan sadhana, Nivritti marg, Sannyasa marg, he is given the knowledge of Karam Yoga, taking on Karam Yoga head on. You know how you take a bull by the horns? The Jiva who's a mumukshu understands if I have to begin the journey of my spiritual path, I have to start from what the Shastra says is your starting point. And your starting point is Karam Yoga. The knowledge is given then about Karam Yoga. When you take it head on, they give you the phal of Karam Yoga, and there they said Samatvam Yoga Uchyate. Even Karam Yoga done brings about equanimity in mind. It gives balance between Raga and Dvesha. That means all this division and the disintegration that one feels, there is a relief that sets in from them. They don't get destroyed, but the relief sets in from there. And this relief in Karam Yoga was elaborated first, giving the lakshanas of a stable-minded person whose knowledge has become firm. Second chapter, third chapter again, Karam Yoga. Fourth chapter, Jnana Sadhana, which means Jisne who picked up Karam Yoga as bull by horns moves on into Jnana Sadhana. Uski pravritti marg धीरे धीरे छूट जाती है. उसके कर्म नहीं छूटते, उसकी बंधन जो लगता है कर्म और फल के बीच का, वो बंधन छूट जाता है. और जब वो बंधन छूट गया है तो अब वो ज्ञान के लिए तैयार है, हो रहा है. और जैसे जैसे ज्ञान की तैयारी बनती है, ज्ञान साधना शुरू होती है, which started with Vedanta Shravanam. Then you took on the practices which qualify you further for it. Those he is going to talk about again. And for which he had said in the 34th verse, Pranipatena Pariprashnena, was it 34th? Yes, 34th. Pranipatena Pariprashna means you have started the Jnana Sadhana. Now here he said, now you take on the Jnana Sadhana as bull by horns, because कर्म की अब कोई बंधन नहीं है, पकड़न नहीं है. Once this pakdan is not felt inside, ज्ञान साधना के लिए अवेलेबल हो गया अंतकरण हमारा. हियर ये बुद्धि अब जुड़ गई, धीरे धीरे जुड़ने लगी. एज ज्ञान की साधना पकी, ये जो वॉल्कैनिक बुद्धि है ना, हमारी अंतकरण है, बुद्धि नहीं. बुद्धि तो इज इरप्टिव वंस इन अ वाइल, बट अवर अंतकरण इज वॉल्कैनिक. दबाए दबाए दबाए, बड़ी देर तक दबाए, फिर एकदम से देन वापस शांत होता है थोड़े टाइम बाद, फिर थोड़ा सा पकड़ा हुआ है, फिर. तो एवरेज इंसान यही है. बट ज्ञान की साधना में क्या हुआ फाइनली, दैट ये वॉल्कैनिक इरप्शंस, देयर इज नथिंग इनसाइड फॉर इट टू इरप्ट. Everything's got resolved. All our lack of fulfillment felt, all our unfulfilled desires, all our all our expectations not met, जो carry हो रहा था, everything's got resolved in knowledge. And the biggest thing that has got resolved is that aham buddhi has got replaced by what really the aham is. So once this is there, the division has got diminished and then finally lost. These are the two things that he said in 35th verse. 36th verse, he says one more thing. The biggest gain in 36th verse was Chet api chetasi papebhyah sarvebhyah papakritamah. He says, even if you think you are the worst sinner, even then all papa karmas get destroyed by Atma Jnanam. And if you understand this in situations in life, all it means is all papa karma is expressing as adverse situations. When we think, some people think everything is going wrong at a particular point, making some people even helpless to take the extreme step of their life, taking away their life. Adverse situations are actually only the result of one's past contrary actions. Adverse situation exactly is what is causing imbalance to everyone. That adverse situations do not imbalance the mind is the gain of jnana phalam. ज्ञान क्या का फल क्या है? लाइफ में एडवर्स सिचुएशंस हैं, लेकिन they will not topple, they will not imbalance the person. Where have the adverse situations come from? They have come, generally speaking, can't be particular here, generally speaking, and it covers average everything, the result of one's own past contrarily done actions. What are contrarily done actions called? Paap. The word for it is paap. Means जो मुझे करना चाहिए था वो मैंने नहीं किया, और जो मुझे नहीं करना चाहिए था वो मैंने करा. This is what is called as paap. All paap, this is important, all paap is committed because of what? Go back to the first point, misplaced values. When there is a confusion of values in my mind, I land up committing things that I should not have done before. What I should not do. What I should do, I omit them. And this is not what I am saying. Shankara has said this in the very introduction of Gita Bhashyam. पाप कब होता है जीव से? जब अधर्म हो रहा है. अधर्म कब कर रहा है वो? अधर्म का मतलब सिर्फ बड़ी बड़ी चीजें नहीं है. हमने किसी को मारा, दे आर अधर्म एविडेंटली, उसमें तो बहुत ज्यादा सोचने की जरूरत नहीं है. इन लाइफ छोटी छोटी सिचुएशंस, छोटे छोटे व्यवहारिक इंटरैक्शंस, छोटे छोटे डेली सिचुएशंस which call upon us to do something, decide something, which call upon us to make a call. What make us take an action? When I, in my misplaced values, start to do what I should not do and not do what I should do, it's a big force in us. We are tempted. We are tempted for many reasons. This is not the topic to discuss that. I will not go further into it. Jiva is tempted at many levels. That temptation makes us do things that are not to be done. Those in time, because wo karam hai, phal hai, those in time come back in one's life as adversity. External situations may seem the same to someone else, but to you they will be adverse. Such adversity being the result of one's past contrary actions, called paap. And all paap is committed due to misplaced values. Because misplaced values have got corrected with jnana, there is no longer any papam. Whatever means no longer generated further. Whatever was done before, that he will talk of later. Because of this, he says, such situations do not topple your mind. Adverse situations will not topple your mind. Why? Self-knowledge is your anchor. You have now got an anchor. That self-knowledge being the anchor, you tide over difficult situations like sitting in a boat in rough waters. That was the example he gave. Jnana plaven naiva, jnana plavena eva, vrajinam santarishyasi. You will cross over. Cross over this adverse situation. Cross over this difficult time. Cross over difficult phase of life. You will cross over. Don't worry. It will be crossed easily for you. Why? Because your anchor is self-knowledge. There will not be adversities, firstly, for such a person. I'm talking from our standpoint, Ajnana standpoint and Jnana standpoint. For a Jnani, there is no adverse situation because all misplaced values have been corrected. His actions have become, you can very safely say, talking from a for a Jnani, his actions are perfect. Means error नहीं होता है बुद्धि में. बुद्धि अगर misjudge कुछ नहीं करती तो कर्म गलत नहीं होता है. That means whatever he does is setting the example. Third chapter had told us. ज्ञानी का कर्म लोक संग्रह बन जाता है. And हमारा adverse situation क्यों बनती है? Because अज्ञान में हमने misplaced values से कुछ ना करने वाली चीजें की, which became papam. But once the jiva has started on Gyan Sadhana, now see how you're reversing the process. धीरे धीरे बुद्धि correct होने लगती है. And as the Jnani is, you start moving in that direction. All because you take your anchor, मन को स्थिर करते हो आत्मज्ञान में. You hold the knowledge in your life and you sift life situations based on that knowledge. This was what he said in 36th verse. Then in 37th verse, he had said, what about the actions done in the past for the Jnani? Just because they are now onwards after Jnanam, he doesn't do anything wrong because his misplaced values have got corrected. But what about those he did before when he was a Jnani? All past actions also become ineffective to generate results. Was the 37th verse. Jnana agnihi sarva karmani bhasmasat kurute. All karmas are reduced to ashes. That means all past karmas that were still there in a Jnani's life, still to function and fruit itself, in Jnani's life, all those past actions have got burnt away. What are the burnt actions, past actions? Actions themselves are Sanchita and Agami. Sanchita is all the past actions collected, जो अभी अज्ञान की दृष्टि में आगे हमें साइकिल में रख रहे हैं. आगामी इस जन्म में जो हमने प्रवृत्त कर लिए हैं, शुरू कर दिया, आरंभ कर दिया, राग द्वेष अहंकार से जो कर्म किए हैं और जो नहीं करने चाहिए थे वो कर दिए और जो करने चाहिए थे नहीं किए, commissions and omissions of our duties based on our varna ashramas or based on our rules of life, whatever we were to do and not to do, all this has got accumulated. Let's never miss this perception. I'm going to repeat this slowly. Let us never miss the perception that karmas are inert. भूलिए मत इस बात को कभी भी कि कर्म जड़ है. कर्म जड़ नहीं है, जड़ ही नहीं है. यहाँ पे कुछ कर्म जड़ नहीं है. That means there is nothing हम करते रहे और कुछ नहीं होगा. No, हम जो भी कर रहे हैं सब कुछ, it's not inert. It will modify itself. You know, my best example always is if you anything that has fermentation in it, food that ferments, you know, like bread, batter, idli batter. If you keep it in an airtight container, bread of course flattens, but you leave it, especially the idli batter. it starts to flow out of the vessel. That gives you the perception, क्या ये जड़ है? अगर ये जड़ है, there should be no transformation. Is there anything जड़ here? जब वस्तुओं को हम जड़ देखते हैं, तो हम भूल जाते हैं कि there is a response that is being generated. That means if I do karmas and I think ki it's over, those karmas are accumulating just as that batter is fermenting. While it is still fermenting, you will not see much change. But once it has gone through its fermentation, you will begin to see a big change in it. In the texture of it, in the color of it, in the smell of it, in the taste of it. It undergoes a change. In the same way, initial stages of karma, you see no change, but they accumulate. That accumulation within this life was agami. And in the past life, collected total, this agami is also getting collected in sanchita. Total of it will get into sanchita. For that person whose Atma Gyan sadhana has become successful, quote unquote word, successful not in the worldly sense, खत्म हो गई उसकी ज्ञान की साधना की जरूरत भी, ज्ञान निष्ठ हो गया है. जिसका ज्ञान निष्ठ हो गया है, उसके पिछले कर्म का क्या, या जो इस जन्म में बिफोर ज्ञान निष्ठ हुए किए, in oblivion you did some actions, उसके सारे संचितन आगामी कर्म्स have got nullified. The right word is nullified. They've become null and void. How did they become null and void? Because the very seed has been now destroyed. Once they have become nullified, what is the gain of it further? There is no rebirth. And rebirth is again a very technical thing. A lot of us don't even accept it. We may be students of Vedas and Vedanta, but we will not accept rebirth. A lot of modern people, so-called scientific thinking people, do not accept rebirth. Okay, I want you to replace the word. Forget rebirth. Recurrence. Do you accept the word recurrence? That a situation recurs in life? That things recur in life? That day and night recur themselves? That recurrence itself is called rebirth. All the recurrence is happening because of your accumulated karma. As long as there is karma, there will be recurrence. For such a person whose knowledge has become firm, recurrence is not there. Means, khatam hone laga. Like when you come to a end of a book, if you're reading a book and you pad rahe ho, and it comes to an end, there is a khatam hona, something called khatam hona. ज्ञान का फल क्या है? This recurrence का खत्म हो जाना. Recurrence is only there up to the point of avidya. When there is atmanishtata, recurrence is gone. There's an end. Like what he says, how are they nullified? Like fire burns all kinds of fuels. That all should be underlined. Anything that's fuelable, burnable, inflammable, fire burns it. Similarly, self-knowledge burns all karmas. Except, as he had said, those that you've started with in this life, which are prarabdha, which are so few and so little, they almost have anyway manifested that they have, no one has any control over them. Like, for example, I often give you the example, you cannot change the gender of your body at this stage. If you choose to is another thing by science, but let's leave it at a simpler level. Prarabdha karmas are as little as that. In other words, even that, if you have a choice, is not a prarabdha karma. That is how small the level of prarabdha is. It is only defining a lifespan for you. How many life breaths you still have in this embodiment is all that the prarabdha is defining. Nothing else is really prarabdha. It's all very, very fluid there, based on how you contact your life. This was the benefit. All of them, if you see this 35th, 36th and 37th verse, is a beautiful consolidation of Jnana Phal इसे कहते हैं, कैसे मिलता है. And then he moved on to 38th verse, which we started yesterday. I'm going to stop sharing this. and I will share the 38th verse. So here in the 38th verse, he was giving actually one more benefit. What is this one more benefit? He says, Gyan ke jaisa, equivalent. There is nothing that is pavitram, purifier. And here he is separating the purifications done through karma. When we do karma purification, we have seen, is only causing chitta shuddhi. The gross example yesterday I took, for your body you have soaps, etc., water and soap to purify the body. But what is there to purify your mind? What is there to purify the mind? Just give me. What is there to purify the mind? That purifications, as we did yesterday and quite in detail, we are afflicted by our own sense of smallness, our own sense of ragadvesh. All that misplaced value was resulting. What happens is they are constantly disturbing and agitating the mind. The right word for it is mala. हमारा अंतकरण मलिन है, means it has got mala in it. शरीर मलिन है, हो गया physical thing, clear हो गया physical thing से. But मन की शुद्धि किससे साफ होगी? They were all अलौकिक karmas. And shuddhi ke liye means unless until you have introduced alaukikta in your life, in your mind, you cannot do alaukikta in physical world. Alaukikta drishti in your mind through Ishwar Arpanam, Prasad Buddhi, etc. Through that was your causing the purification of your mind. And for which alaukikta, there were karmas physical also. Like rituals, Ganga Snanam, fasting. These are all physical karmas. But these physical karmas are different from earning your bread and butter karmas. The minute this class ends, a lot of us may have to get back to our work, and to get back to your works, you will have meetings, you will be contacting people, projects, so many such things you are going to do in life. All that is giving you only bread and butter. They are not resulting anything else. But if you introduce a laukikta in life, in that action, means you have done it with Ishwar Arpanam, take Prasada Buddhi, etc. The karmas themselves have to be connected to Ishwaratvam. And that Ishwaratvam is a added on, just as you added soap to your body to remove the impurity, you've added Ishwar to your mind to remove the impurity of the self individual that you have generated for yourself. So there's a benefit of adding Ishvara. So all the purifiers that are karma based, he says they are purifiers, no doubt, but they'll give you chitta shuddhi, because all those purifiers do not purify the mala of ajnanam. Ajnana, कर्म की purification चित्त शुद्धि से नहीं जाता. But what does jnanam do? Jnanam not only gives you the purification of chitta shuddhi, it also destroys ajnanam. Jnana is the greatest purifier because it destroys ajnanam. When it destroys ajnanam itself, there is no more scope for any mala to accumulate, because jivatvam itself is gone. And that is what he had said in the 38th verse. This now, I will introduce 39th verse and maybe we'll that. Shraddhavan labhate jnanam.
श्रद्धावान् लभते ज्ञानम्
तत्परः संयतेन्द्रियः.
तत्परः तत्परं संयतेन्द्रियः.
The visarga of tat paraha is followed by sa, so the visarga will be sounded as half sa. Okay, I'll do the line again. Shraddhavan labhate jnanam.
श्रद्धावान् लभते ज्ञानम्.
Tatparah संयतेन्द्रियः.
तत्परः संयतेन्द्रियः.
Second line also, that jnanam anuswara followed by la will become la, half la. So it will become jnanal labdhva. Jnanal labdhva param shantim.
ज्ञानं लब्ध्वा परां शान्तिम्.
Achirenadhigacchati.
अचिरेणाधिगच्छति.
Shraddhavan labhate jnanam. Tatparah संयतेन्द्रियः.
श्रद्धावान् लभते ज्ञानम्. तत्परः संयतेन्द्रियः.
ज्ञानं लब्ध्वा परां शान्तिम् अचिरेणाधिगच्छति.
ज्ञानं लब्ध्वा परां शान्तिम् अचिरेणाधिगच्छति.
We'll do the second line again. ज्ञानं लब्ध्वा परां शान्तिम् अचिरेणाधिगच्छति.
ज्ञानं लब्ध्वा परां शान्तिम् अचिरेणाधिगच्छति.
श्रद्धावान् लभते ज्ञानम्. तत्परः संयतेन्द्रियः. ज्ञानं लब्ध्वा परां शान्तिम् अचिरेणाधिगच्छति.
तत्फलां लभते ज्ञानम्. तत्परः संयतेन्द्रियः. ज्ञानं लब्ध्वा परां शान्तिम् अचिरेणाधिगच्छति.
This verse is now giving very beautiful. What I was going to say here is those inner qualifications or inner qualities that whoever has will certainly have knowledge. And the inner quality, these following inner qualities that will come in this verse, whoever will have them will certainly have Atmajnana. And a very beautiful three things that he mentions, Krishna mentions in this verse. Shraddhavan, first one. Shraddhavan. I will try once more to share the screen. Oh, I can't because I have closed the window. Okay.
Leela aunty, please mute yourself.
Sorry?
Leela aunty, please mute yourself.
Thanks. Shraddhavan. Van, that pratyaya there at the end. Shraddhavan. I have often given you the example. Dhanvan. जब वर्ड हिंदी में धनवान कहते हैं किसी को, what is धनवान meaning? धनी, the one who has wealth, जिसके पास wealth है, उसको धनवान कहते हैं. श्रद्धावान is also referring to जिसमें श्रद्धा है, जिसके पास श्रद्धा है. Shraddhavan is the very Moolam word. Krishna has used the word. Shraddhavan labhate. He gets, he gains. Jnanam. क्या मिलता है श्रद्धावान को? ज्ञान मिलता है. धनवान लभते धनम. धनवान को क्या मिलता है? धन. श्रद्धावान लभते धनम. ना अभी, ना. श्रद्धावान को धन ना, दैट्स नॉट द इक्वेशन. श्रद्धा वाले को ज्ञान मिलता है. What is the other qualification needed? Second point. Tatparaha. Tatpar hai wo. He is not a person who is not eager. ये तत्पर है, enthusiastic है, eager है. Jal bin machli. What happens to the machli which comes out of water? तत्पर है to get back to water. क्या वो बड़ी शांत होके बैठी है waiting? Some anugrah will fall. Who will put me back in the water? Till then, I am sitting, doing whatever. No, tatpar hai wo to get back to helplessly tatpar. Doesn't have a choice there to the person. Shraddha hai, tatpar hai. And are these two enough? Krishna is telling Arjuna, no, there is a third thing required. Sanyatendriyaha, whose indriyas have become controlled. Sanyam mein hai. Uske indriya sanyam hai. Has control over the indriyas. Once this three is there, Shraddhavan definitely ज्ञान मिल गया. उसके साथ वो तत्पर है and has his indriyas controlled. Jnanam labdhva. Such a person having got jnanam now, he has jnanam, atma jnanam, certainly. Labdhva means मिल गया उसको. धनवान को धन मिल गया. उसके बाद ज्ञानम मिल गया. उसके बाद पराम शांतिम अचिरेण अधिगच्छति. He gets parashanti. Param means unparalleled, supreme most. He goes to achirena. Pehle gacchati. Param shantim gacchati. He gets param shanti, parashanti. Not the regular shanti. Not the shanti we get in sleep. Because the shanti that we get in sleep is the supreme most that we identify today. But why is it not param? Because it brings us to waking. Waking may we lose that shanti. So it is not a param shanti. Though you have the anubhav of that param shanti, but it is not a lasting experience. So it is not this shanti. But what happens when you have jnanam? You have param shanti. The shanti which doesn't displace itself. Achirena is a beautiful verb. He says, soon enough, ere long, ज़्यादा देर हुए बिना. Not that you have to wait in time. Before he said, kalena atmani vindati. In time he will get. Yoga samsiddhi. Previous verse, 38th verse. In 38th verse he used the word kalena. That kalena meant in time. Means chitta shuddhi will happen in time. Yoga samsiddhi. Karma yoga, ashtang yoga. Kalena karte rehne se. Kafi time karte rehne se. But once you have these three, soon enough you get param shanti. You will get highest shanti. There's a little more in this, but I think we'll take it up next time. I must end.
Sorry, 1 second. Chirena will mean?
Achirena.
Achirena?
Ere long, soon enough. Jaldi.
Okay. ठीक है जी.
जल्दी
Thank
से
you.
you'll get param shantam जल्दी से. That you will not have to wait very long in time. Like for chitta shuddhi, you have to practice for long. But once these three are qualified, once these three are there, very soon you will get shanti, parashanti.
Thank you.
Purnamadah Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vishyate. Om Shanti Shanti.